Peace, Infinite Waters diving deep once again. Shout out to all of you awesome deep divers, and shout out to everyone who's joined the New Ralph Smart Patreon page for all new exclusive content that's going to help you become your greatest version. Click the link down below for videos which are way too spicy for YouTube. Now let's talk about the breaking news, deep divers, which was O.J. Simpson passing away. Okay. O.J. Simpson passing away yesterday of cancer. And this was huge news because O.J. Simpson was a very polarizing figure. Like, you had people who absolutely hated him because they're like, he's guilty. And then you had people who were like, till this day, they're like, he's innocent, right? So as a psychologist and also a criminologist, I'm going to give you my response, okay? And this information right here, deep divers, this information right here is going to blow your mind. I want everyone to hit that like button right now if you support The Real. Once again, smash that like button right now if you support The Real, because we got a whole lot to talk about. Every one of my videos is designed to help you become your greatest version. And there is so much we can all learn from this whole O.J. Simpson situation that can really help us become our greatest versions. So if you are watching this video, this is your confirmation that so much good is coming your way. Just say thank you to receive it. So OJ was a very polarizing figure, right? He really left America kind of divided. There were some people who were like, oh my gosh, he's guilty. And some people were like, no, he never did it, right? But there are far greater lessons to learn that we can all become aware of that can actually help us become our greatest versions. Okay, so this information right here, deep divers, this information right here, the cat down the road is pulling up. It wants to know what I'm going to say. Deep divers, and we ain't even had breakfast yet. Can I get a hello? So OJ, let's talk about it, deep divers. So OJ Simpson was actually accused of murdering two people, okay? And they were Nicole Brown, his ex-wife, and Ron Goldman, okay, who was her friend. He was actually working in a restaurant, and Nicole left her glasses, so he actually came back to her house and gave her the glasses, and actually never made it home because there was a brutal crime scene, okay? They were stabbed multiple times, and a lot of people blamed OJ for doing it. And I actually remember, deep divers, okay, being at home, and I was watching this trial. They actually dubbed it the trial of the century, okay? The OJ trial. It was everywhere. Okay. And I specifically remember OJ being chased, right? OJ was literally being chased by cars, LAPD cars, cop cars. And this was like a movie, a terrible movie at that, but it was like a movie. There were like cars behind him. He was just cruising along. You had people cheering, OJ, right? And it was a crazy time, right? Because this trial was so huge, right? So OJ was someone who was a very, very good athlete, okay? One of the best running backs in NFL history, okay? So from a young age, OJ was someone who was in the spotlight. He was very talented. He was also even in the Naked Gun movies, right? He was a movie star. But you see, something that overshadowed all of that was his trial, because a lot of people were very furious that he actually got off, and a lot of people still think he is guilty. And I'm going to give you my 2 cents, deep divers. Now, I always tell you, anytime someone loses their life, especially an innocent person, it's always terrible. And I'm talking about the 2 innocent people that we know were clearly innocent, Nicole Brown and Ron Goldman, right? They didn't deserve to be killed. They didn't deserve to be killed that way, right? But was it OJ who did it? We don't know. You've got to remind yourself, deep divers, there are emotions and then there are facts. So I'm going to give you some pretty compelling insight into this whole case, right? That's really going to blow your mind. So you can make up your mind, right? Now, let me play you the response from Oprah Winfrey's audience, okay? Because this was when the verdict was read, and just take a listen to this, deep divers.
A felony upon Nicole Brown Simpson, a human being, as charged in count 1 of the information. Superior Court of the State of California, County of Los Angeles, in the matter of the people of the State of California versus Orenthal Jane Simpson. We, the jury, in the...
So, polarizing, right? Back then and still till this day, some people still think he is guilty and some people still think he is innocent, right? And where do I stand? Well, let's dive into some facts, okay, about this whole trial and that whole OJ situation. Now, let's talk about, once again, that chase, right? Which was crazy. It was everywhere, okay? The Bronco car chase, and they had to actually get him out of the car, and then he was put on trial. And something about this case which was very noticeable is that OJ had the best lawyers, not just any lawyers. He had the dream team, okay? He had Robert Kardashian, a very powerful lawyer. He had Robert Shapiro. He had Alan Dershowitz, okay? He had Johnny Cochran. He had 4 powerhouses in his corner who were going to do everything, to make sure he beat the case. And he did beat the case, right? Because, you see, I remember actually watching If the Glove Don't Fit, Then You Must Acquit, right? And I remember actually OJ putting on the gloves, and Johnny Cochran was saying, hey, look, the gloves don't fit. If the glove don't fit, then you must acquit, right? And that was like very iconic picture, right? With OJ with the gloves, they're too small, and everyone's like, okay, well, he must be innocent. But wait a second, because I'm going to show you some evidence that actually he might have done it, right? But a lesson we can learn is sometimes when you have enough money, you can get off. And I'm also going to show you some evidence that the prosecution really messed up. And this is the reason why a lot of people believe he is innocent. We're going to dive into that, right? So here you have Johnny Cochran hugging OJ saying, yes, we won the case. We beat the case. You have Robert Kardashian looking at OJ like, oh my gosh, I can't believe we did it, right? And of course, you have people who are absolutely furious because they are convinced 100% that OJ is a cold-blooded murderer, okay? You had Ron Goldman's father, who was in the courtroom truly distraught, and rightly so, and his sister as well there. And a lot of people said, actually, OJ is guilty, but he beat the case because it was revenge for Rodney King. Okay, Rodney King was beaten. Then you had the LA riots, and a lot of people, especially in the African American community, were furious about Rodney King, and a lot of people thought that actually this is revenge, right? So you had a lot of support for OJ. Even if he was guilty, you had support, which was crazy, right? So let me play you something from the juror who was actually like, actually, we thought that OJ was guilty, but it was kind of revenge for Rodney King. Let me play you this, deep divers. Take a listen. Take a listen to this.
Do you think that they're members of the jury that voted to acquit OJ because of Rodney King?
Yes.
You do?
Yes.
How many of you think felt that way?
Oh, probably 90% of us.
90%? Did you feel that way?
Yes.
That was payback.
Uh-huh.
You think that's right?
So she was a juror and she was saying, like, actually, that was payback, right? Do you think that's right? I don't know, but that's how it was back then, right? So when you remind yourself, Rodney King was a very big event. And one thing I always say when we talk about becoming our greatest versions, now, after he got acquitted, OJ did some very silly things if he was innocent, right? He wrote a book called If I Did It, okay? Just the title alone is not going to convince people who thought he was guilty that he is innocent, because that title alone is crazy. If I Did It. What? So OJ did himself no favors, and in becoming your greatest version, you've got to remind yourself that if you are supposedly innocent, you have to act like an innocent person. You can't be writing books like If I Did It, because people are going to think that actually maybe you did do it, right? And this is where OJ really messed up, okay? And also in this time, you know, we've got to think about the children. OJ had 4 children. 2 with Nicole, 2 with the other woman, and they were just born, right? A lot of his children didn't have anything to do with it. Now, one of them apparently might have had something to do with it, his son, right? There's a whole load of evidence saying that actually his son might have been involved with that murder, right? We'll come to that later. But we can all learn that actually you might be given all the gifts from the universe, right? Which OJ was given, being an NFL phenomena. At the same time, it is overshadowed by this trial of the century. So a lot of people have even forgotten OJ's NFL career because this trial was just so polarizing, right? And this trial was just so many people were so furious that actually he is guilty. He is guilty. Now, this didn't help O.J. Simpson at all, right? Listen to this.
If you promise that you will not ask me another question about the case,
I will never ask you again.
We won't have to talk about it anymore.
Just did you do it?
No, I didn't. Nope. Did not do it.
After we finished filming, OJ said to me that he had a surprise for me, and I genuinely was surprised. I think it was his idea of a joke, and this is it.
Once again, OJ did himself no favors. If he was innocent, he's not helping himself at all. Even the cat down the road knows that. You don't go like doing that with a knife and you're supposedly innocent. You see, as a psychologist, as a criminologist, when I take a look at this, I'm like, okay, now we don't know all of the facts because once again, there was a lot of dodgy things happening with this situation. Now you had corrupt LAPD who were tampering with evidence, and that's the reason why the courtroom said, actually, you know, we're going to go against the prosecution because you had Mark Furman, right? And he was found to kind of be playing with the evidence and all of that. So the prosecution screwed themselves over as well. So we don't even know if OJ was truly innocent or guilty or whatever because the prosecution were playing dirty and so was OJ's team, right? And this is a lesson in life that actually if you think someone has done something wrong, you let justice take its course, right? Because you had crooked cops doing all kind of things, right? So that's what led a lot of people to believe actually he is innocent and they're trying to screw him over. But when you have a video like that, if someone is innocent, a sane person would never do that. They would never like joke around. If it's someone they love, right? Your ex-wife that you love, you've had children with. You don't joke around like that. You don't write books like, If I Did It. This is not a joke, right? So if OJ was innocent, then that's still psychopathic, right? He's showing signs of that's crazy. Or maybe that's his coping mechanism, right? Because if he's innocent, then he's like, well, you know, I'm just going to laugh and joke about it to keep me sane, but it could also show that he might be a psychopath, which might have led people to believe that actually he did do it, right? Because he thinks everything is a joke. Now, what did Ron Goldman's father say? Okay, Ron Goldman's father said this after hearing that OJ had passed away. The only thing I have to say is it's just further reminder of Ron being gone all these years. Fred Goldman said in a phone interview, "It's no great loss to the world. It's a further reminder of Ron's being gone." Right? So also you had Nicole Brown, Simpson's ex-boyfriend, described Simpson's death as justice, right? So you had a lot of people who were still very angry with OJ, and rightly so. In their mind, they think he's guilty, right? Now, me diving deep, I found some strange things about the case, right? First and foremost, if you are innocent, you don't run away from the cops in a chase, right? You just stop. And that's very strange. That's number one, okay? Also, if you are innocent, what else happened? Now, this was very fascinating because this shoe print comparison, okay, so a shoe print was found at the scene of the crime, Bruno Magli's shoe, right? Deep divers, Bruno Magli. And they had asked OJ, are you sure you didn't have any Bruno Magli shoes? These shoes are very hard to get. They're expensive designer shoes and all of that stuff. And he's like, no, I've never actually had a pair of Bruno Magli shoes. And the thing is, in 1993, OJ actually had a pair of Bruno Magli shoes, right? And when I found this out, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. So this might be a case of, well, I've got the money, I can buy the best lawyers, because once again, OJ did have the dream team. He had all the lawyers, right? He had all the lawyers who could really help him out, who can get him off. And this could be a case of, well, I've got the money, I can buy my way out of a crime. Because once again, that was shocking to me. And the prosecution didn't help themselves because they kind of made the judge believe that actually, well, why is a detective, Mark Furman, playing around with evidence? Like, did they plant evidence on OJ? So this was another speculation, which kind of didn't help the prosecution either, right? So it's very hard to know if OJ was guilty or innocent because once again, the prosecution were playing dirty, right? So when we talk about becoming our greatest versions, I always say, always follow the righteous path. Always follow the righteous path and you will become your greatest version. So what else? So even till this day, you know, before OJ passed away, he was in Las Vegas. He was like also arrested again and put in jail for like over 10 years, right? But this is someone who was once upon a time an American superstar. He was actually living the American dream. He was an NFL player, handsome, lots of money. He was a movie star in the Naked Gun movies, and then he lost it all, right? By this trial of the century. And in life, we've got to remind ourselves that if you're given talents and gifts by the Creator, you have to honor them. And this is a lesson for all of us. Because if you don't, they'll be taken away. And that's what happened with OJ. You know, sometimes the ego can take over. Sometimes the narcissism can take over. Now, there was even a situation with OJ and the Kardashians because a lot of people, there was a rumor going around that actually another daughter of OJ was actually Khloe Kardashian. And the appearance is very similar, right? But then someone said actually it might have been Chris's hairdresser. So OJ is a polarizing figure. I always tell you that it's going to be very hard to find out the truth. But what I do know is that a lot of people lied during that case. During that trial, there were a lot of lies from both sides. From OJ's team, Dream Team, they would do anything and everything to make sure their guy was acquitted, and that's what they did. They had the best of the best. Johnny Cochran, right? The glove doesn't fit. At the same time, you also had a prosecution who was very lousy. You had Mark Furman tampering with evidence, all of that. And that's what made it even worse, right? So where do we stand with OJ? I always say that the sad thing about the OJ situation is that it's not about OJ. It should be about the people who lost their lives. Ron Goldman, Nicole Brown. What about them? Now, that's who we should focus on, because they lost their lives tragically. And OJ got to live to be very old, 74, whatever, right? Chilling in Vegas, playing golf, right? But, you have to always remind yourself that the truth oftentimes is not in the courtroom. If you have enough money, you can get off. And also, OJ could have been innocent. OJ could have been innocent, but the way he was going about it wasn't the right way, because if I did it, it's just leading back to, well, this is someone who has no remorse. This is someone who's not even saying, you know what, let me pay a tribute to my wife and her friend and all of this, because there was talk that OJ was jealous of Nicole, even though it was his ex, right? So deep divers, when we talk about becoming your greatest version, always remind yourself, as you are given gifts and talents by the Creator, don't waste them. I want everyone right now to hit that like button right now if you support The Real. Hit that like button right now, deep divers, if you support The Real. Share this video, subscribe. Also, make sure you join the new Ralph Smart Patreon page for all new exclusive content that's going to help you become your greatest version. Click the link down below. And that's why I'm just saying, feels so good to be alive, baby. Can I get a hello there? Beautiful deep divers, let's breathe. Woo! Breathing in that good ass prana, baby. Go and check out the #1 best-selling book, Feel Alive by Ralph Smart, on Amazon and at ralphsmart.com/thebook. Also, Feel Alive Part 2 is coming out, deep divers. You're going to love it. Check out the latest new book, The Book of 1111 Infinite Quotes by Ralph Smart at ralphsmart.com/thebook. The secret recipe to becoming your greatest version. And go and get the good ass prana shirts, deep divers, for men, women, children, even cats down the road at ralphsmart.com/clothes and spreadshirt.com if you're in America. And if you're a sexy ass model, woo, with a whole lot of heart, you want to model the clothing, well, go and buy some. Deep divers, continue to become your greatest version. There is so much we can all learn from OJ, that you can have a lot, but it can all be taken away. And every single day, remind yourself that you are here to become your greatest version. One love to all of you deep divers. Peace. Infinite waters, diving deep once again. Stay well, stay healthy. Peace. You! Once again, deep divers, make sure you hit that like button if you support The Real. Share this video, subscribe. Once again, hit that like button right now if you support The Real. Share this video, subscribe, and leave a comment down below of gratitude and appreciation. And let me know how this video inspired you to really realize that you got to find the truth within. You got to find the truth, your truth, inside of you. And if you've been given a lot, like OJ was given a whole lot, don't waste it. Make the most of it. One love. Peace.